As 3D artists, we push our computers to the limits, especially when it comes to rendering. This can introduce a lot of heat into a system and cause it to shut down, and that's exactly what happened to me. Here we have an absolutely disgusting computer. It's one of my kids, also something I use as part of my render farm when I'm rendering lots of stuff out. This is filthy, it's overheating and shutting down. Let's have a look at how we can fix it. Now I do have a portable hoover with me here, and I would recommend using something like that, but never inside the case. The potential of damaging something is too high. So I'm going to clean this part here, probably the top. I'll use a damp cloth. And when I say damp, go run a cloth under some water. I'm sure you know how it works, but do not drench it. We're dealing with electronic components, and it just being damp means that as we go over stuff, it picks up the dust really nicely. And grab a couple of these if you can, so that you're not spreading dirt absolutely everywhere. Some of you might want to wear a dust mask whilst doing this, because it can kick up quite a bit of dust. So if I start sneezing, that's the reason why. In fact, we can see those dust bunnies there. Now this particular case has a glass panel. If you have a glass panel, and we're going to be taking it off in a moment, make sure you rest this thing not on anything like a ceramic surface or a stone floor, anything like that. This thing will shatter with the very, very tiniest of forces if you do that. So what I'd recommend, I'm going to actually wipe that down a little before I take it off, is put it on a sofa or a wooden surface out of the way. Now that I have the side panel off, it's a good idea to just check around and see what we're going to have to clean. Now this is particularly filthy. Look at that. I'm going to do this. Is going to... Yeah, this is going to need something like a blower to really be effective. However, if you don't have compressed air or something along those lines, the best way forward here is to go ahead and take these components out and clean them manually, maybe even with a paintbrush. Seriously, something like this one's a particularly old paintbrush, but something like this is very good for not breaking stuff and being able to get into these little nooks and crannies. Obviously, I'm knocking it off for demonstration. I really don't want to do this in my office. This is something that you should probably do outside, not inside. Now, as we have a look at the CPU here, we can very clearly see, if we come in close, that a lot of the fins on this admittedly crappy cooler, but it's only an i3-12100F in here, so it's not going to produce a lot of heat, but these are all severely blocked. And of course, that is going to cause you a lot of problems. The fact that we've got a lot of dust on the fans, etc., I'm surprised this didn't start shutting down sooner. Now the GPU, I'm actually going to take this out because the GPU itself is going to be in the way of cleaning stuff, and also it's a lot easier to clean this if it's out. If we have a look under here, you can see the part, look at that dust, that's horrible. But if we have a look under here, look in here, yes, it is in fact rather horrible, but it's not blocked. It's nothing like the CPU is. So being able to focus on the CPU itself, I think that's going to actually clear things up. But when you're looking around your computer, you have to treat this with respect. It can be very easy to end up breaking components. So we're not going to put the hoover inside. If you do want to put anything inside, use one of these, a little stiff bristled brush so you can wipe things off. And I think compressed air is going to be the ideal way of doing this. I would recommend wearing a dust mask for a lot of people. I'm going to take mine outside, and I do recommend that you take yours outside as well. If you're in England with the lovely sunny weather that we have here, it's not sunny at all. Make sure you don't take it outside when it's raining. Okay, so I'm going to take the graphics card out. So first of all, I'm going to remove the power. So that's these two here. Squeezing the tab on top, pulling gently. Now often these break into a 2 and a 6, so just bear that in mind that they will separate, and often it's easier to plug the 2 in and then the 6 later on. And then finally, let's unplug this as well. So those are both out. Okay, so now that the power is removed, we've got this little tab, which I'm going to block with my finger. Let's zoom in. We've got this little tab here that we're going to have to push. You can see where my fingers have been just a moment ago. So we're going to push that tab back like so. And then you will either have a screw somewhere down here. Let's zoom out again. There we go. You'll have a screw somewhere on the inside here, or on this particular case, it's on the outside. So I'm going to unscrew that. And when you've removed this screw, it's not likely that the computer itself, the card, is going to drop out, but just bear that in mind. Now this particular case has a little panel covering. Not all cases are like this, but just unscrew that bit lightly. Now we can just wiggle this out like so, and then pull it forward. Excellent. Now, actually, one of the things that dropped out there, I dragged a couple of these port covers out as I pulled it out. So make sure, I should have said this to begin with, but obviously I've got everything unplugged from my computer anyway. It's a bit cold out here, so I've got the GPU out. We can see here it is relatively clear. So the next thing that I'm going to do is grab this and shut this door and make a lot of noise, and maybe dust as well. I just take notes here. When you're cleaning out the fans, you do not want them spinning rapidly. If you do that, you could put some voltage back into the card, which might damage it. So when you're cleaning these out, maybe put your thumb gently against it, and off you go. And the back of the card, again, I'm just gonna wipe down here like so, and that is that card all clean. Now there is definitely some dust left in here. I'm not going to do a full deep clean. I would usually use some isopropyl alcohol, some Q-tips or earbuds to go around there and clean it out, but what I will do now is go grab that paintbrush that I was using earlier. Oh, welcome back. So just going around brushing any of the bits inside as we're going. Again, moving the fan like this is absolutely fine, but what we don't want to do is make it go really, really fast like it might do if we were to use the air blower. Again, around here, around the edges, just helps clean things up. Getting underneath the fans can be really hard. That would be more of a deep clean, which I'm not going for today because I don't believe this is the problem, but I am going to clean it whilst we're here. And there we go. I'm happy with that for the moment. As I said, a deeper clean might be necessary in the future, but for the moment, that's pretty good. Onto the computer. Okay, so it's just started raining outside, so that means I'm not going to be able to just blow it outside. So I've adapted, and actually blowing stuff outside is relatively easy. Let's just switch around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my hoover. I'm just going to use it in close proximity. You can see I've just done a bit of testing. So I'll turn the hoover on and literally just brush up the dust as we go. And I'll do that around the fans on both sides. And hopefully I'll be able to wiggle this also into the CPU cooler and actually give it a good clean, and the bristles getting in between those fins. Let's give it a go. Now, a bit of an obvious thing here, for me at least, but as you're using anything like a portable hoover, it's likely that your filter's going to get gummed up with all of the fine dust, even though you've not pulled a lot in. I mean, this thing is empty, right? But I bet, and I'm not going to open it up in here, but I bet that the filter mesh is now covered. So I'm going to go clean that and then continue, because I noticed the suction was getting a little less. It's just something to watch out for if you're using a little one like this. Sad news, my tripod has just broken, so it's going to be handheld for the rest of this. I'm going to do this in the kitchen because I'm brave. Basically a load of fine dust across here, and sometimes you can use something like a little toothbrush, baby toothbrush, something like that, something that's soft. You can use that on components in the computer as well. I prefer a paintbrush as it's not so arduous, but I'll be taking this lot off into the bin. You can just see down there. But I'm not going to do that on camera because I don't have enough hands. And my tripod's broken. Sad times. Like the video, so I can afford a new tripod. Okay, I've precariously stuck my phone back on the tripod, and it's held up with some glue. Not glue, blue tack. Other sticky stuff is available, obviously. So I'm just trying to clean off a little bit of the dust from the fans. Some of the dust is a bit more baked on, and around the CPU is probably, well, it's got the most dust on it, hasn't it? I think it's just because it blows down, and a lot of that dust wasn't inside these vents. It was actually kind of just on the surface. It kind of built up and blocked it that way. Time to get the hoover back out. Now, with a little bit of movie magic, and sorry, that being the wrong way up is irritating me, we can have a look at a before and after of the fins. You can actually see through the fins now. That's something you definitely couldn't do before. Now, before I finish up, there are little nooks and crannies that I want to run over once again. And of course, this stack of fans here, what I don't want is, after cleaning all of this, leaving these to potentially blow further dust in that's loose. So it's time to clean those up as well. Okay, so the final thing to look at here is just beyond these fans is a mesh. Now that mesh is supposed to help block dust getting into the case. As you can see, it is somewhat effective, but not completely. Now these can be really difficult to get off. Some front panels have a little thing that you squeeze, like this one here. Now it looks like there are at least 3 here, and that one's tucked away down there. So I don't know how they imagine that you would ever be able to actually get your fingers in there. I certainly can't. That mesh filter back there that I pretty much have no access to, it's going to be really difficult to clean. So I'm going to try and get a bigger brush and just poke at it for a bit. And then from this side of the case, actually have a go at it through the mesh with the hoover as well, rather than trying to take the panel off, as I think that would be a small nightmare and not that effective. And there we go. After a vigorous amount of brushing, this has managed to clean out a lot of the dust that was there. However, it's only really worked on the stuff that's already on that side of the case. There's still some on this side, so I'm going to give that a go next. And then we're all done. Put everything back together and do some testing. As I mentioned a few moments ago, when plugging in an 8-pin, you can also plug in the 2-pin at the same time, or you can plug in the 2-pin first. I found that useful on some of my plugs, and then come back with the rest of the 6 and plug those in afterwards, like so. Make sure you hear an audible click as that goes in, otherwise it might not be connected properly and that can cause fires. This is just a 6, so let's plug in the 6. Again, listen to the click. Make sure it's in there properly, and we're done. Time to put the glass panel back on and test. So I'm running Cinebench 2024 using the multi-core to really push the CPU full, just to make sure that it's working properly. And as we zoom out, it's going to take a while. It's not a powerful processor by any stretch of the imagination, but it's running at 100% now. Another piece of software that's incredibly useful when you have to do diagnostics like this is HW Info. If we go ahead and launch that, what we will see is it gives us a couple of options. I really only want sensors only with this, so I'm going to go ahead and click start. Once it's up, it will open up and have loads and loads of information. The one that I really care about is the one that mentions the processor here, and we can see here the core max is currently 73. It's not the coolest, but also that's not too bad. I'm going to leave that running because this is the current field, and then we've got the maximum down here. So if we leave that running for a while, we can see what the actual maximum ended up being over a prolonged period. The other thing I will now do is start FurMark at the same time, and what that will do is dump a load of extra heat into the system. And the great thing about dumping heat into the system is it really pushes the system. So I'm going to bring back hardware info so I can see what's happening. Now I am expecting the CPU core to actually go up in temperature. Now we're dumping, that's a good new word, but now we're dumping about 200 watts of extra heat into the case, and we can already see that's up at 75. But I'm going to leave that all going now just to cook basically, and hopefully I'll come back in, I don't know, half an hour or so, and it will actually be running unlike before. So we can see here after it running one cycle of this, it's getting up to about 87 degrees C. This is a little bit on the high side, but just remember when you're doing stress testing like this, it's not going to be your typical load. We've got the GPU fully utilized and the CPU also fully utilized, and we can see that down there on Task Manager. It's still within spec. The computer's designed to run at that temperature. I would rather put a better cooler on it if it did get up this high normally, but when it's a full CPU load and a full GPU load, that still isn't overheating. I believe the maximum temperature is 105 on this. The critical thing here is under the core for thermal throttling, critical temperature, power exceeded, these ones here, it's not done it. So we have no, no, and no across all of these. So that means that we're not hitting any throttling at that particular point. Now, it might not be able to boost as high in terms of its clock speed, but I think it's sitting at around 4.1 gigahertz is absolutely fine on an all-core load for a 12th gen i3. Nice.
Thank you for joining me in this video. I now have my PC back up and running again, and my son is very happy he can game again. That's it for this video. If you want to support the channel, check out courses below, a like and subscribe if you want to see more like this, and I'll see you all in the next one.